Hey everyone, welcome to week 2 for here in Comp 2 for fall 2020. This video here is going to be focusing on a sample rhetorical analysis as well as the rhetorical analysis outline template that I have for y'all. So here we are, week 2. You may notice though that this may look a little bit different than what it will look like when you click into it. The reason is, when I go back here, and it shows it's not going to be due yet or open yet for y'all, but it will be open and it'll look like this when it is. But week 1, I created it as a folder, and that way everything just showed up in one list like that. Week 2, when you click into it, it's what we call a learning module. The rest will be like that, and it's almost like a book. It'll be one page at a time. You have to go to the next page and so on. Okay, it kind of forces everyone to go in a specific order a little bit better, and so it will look a little bit different than what you see when you click into it here. Now, what you'll notice is that I'll have this video in here, obviously, but you have your checklist, you have a couple handouts, and you have a week 2 discussion. Right now, understand that in your week 2 discussion, you want to go in and you want to post a link to the article that you have chosen, to the argument, really, but it's an article, that you've chosen to analyze in your paper. And if you haven't already, I obviously say right there, I recommend the procon.org. We looked at that in the week 1 video. So anyway, there it is. Give a detailed description on what the article is about and what you're thinking about doing as far as your focus with appeals and everything in your paper. Of course, this is not set in stone. This is all used to help you, get your mind going and get thinking about what you want to do here, okay? Same rules for posting apply. Make sure you pay attention to that. Okay, let's get into it, everybody. Number 1, I want to show you the sample rhetorical analysis. This is an essay. It's not perfect, but it does a pretty good job of what we want to look at here, okay? Now, also in the meantime, I want to go back here for a second to week 1. Week 1 has some handouts as well that will become helpful. Down here, in doing so, the C method is very important, okay? What we mean by C method is, and I'll click that for just a second here as well. The C method is a structure of an argument in the body, okay? And what this means is when you're dealing with an argumented type of paper, even though yours is a rhetorical analysis, it still falls into this. What we're looking here is when it comes to the body paragraphs, they follow a specific format, a really basic format. And even if they aren't perfect like this, they contain the C method artifacts in some way. So you'll notice here the first yellow is your topic sentence in this example. The green is the example from the text in which you're analyzing, whether it be a song, a movie, a TV show, an argumentative article like you're doing, anything like that, that's your example. Then the following yellow is you explaining what that example has to do with your point, your thesis, okay? So it's a statement, example, explanation. That's why we call it C. It's an acronym, okay? So anyway, go back through that and look at that. I have another video on that. This will be a good structure for all of your papers to follow. But I wanted to show you this first because you're going to see aspects of it inside this rhetorical analysis example, as well as you will see it coming through really when we take a look at your outline template, okay? Anyway, here is the a sample, and I've actually pulled this from the internet and I've used it for years. This is a sample rhetorical analysis, and I want to show you a few things that are very good. There are some, like I said, this is not perfect. This might not be your style. There's a lot of stuff that if I wrote this, I would completely get rid of and focus it and streamline it, but it doesn't matter. So looking here, first off, the first thing we want to do is identify our thesis statement in the introduction and what the introduction is doing. This introduction is introducing, obviously, this person's student name. Let's just say this student here is Lloyd Christmas. If you know that reference, then congratulations. So let's say Lloyd is writing this paper. He's in the class, and he found an article called Confessions of a Female Chauvinist Sow by Anne Royfi. So that's what he found that. Let's just say he found that on Procon or somewhere. I don't know. I'm sure if you look it up, you can find it many places. But the article's author is Anne Royfi, and this is the title of the article. Lloyd is a guy in class with you, and for example, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to find an article, and you're going to focus your paper about that article in your essay, okay? So it kind of gives you a little bit of information about it. You don't have to go into the history, but notice this. This sentence here, and I'm going to highlight that in, I think blue does, let's just go highlighter, yellow. All right, this is the thesis. It's not quoted precisely, but this is the paraphrase, I guess you could say, thesis to Roiphy's essay, Confessions of a Chauvinist Sow, Female Chauvinist Sow. So that is the other author, Roiphy's thesis to the article, okay? And so notice that you'll want to do that too. You want to let your reader know that this is what this argument is trying to say, trying to argue, trying to convince us, okay? Boom, there it is. Then after that, you will come in and you will supply your thesis. And your thesis is just letting the reader know what you're going to accomplish in this particular essay. And this one here, and I'll highlight this one in, let's just say green. This one here is your thesis. It's Lloyd's thesis, okay? Personal anecdotes, contrasts, and comparisons are techniques that Roiphy skillfully uses to create a strong, convincing essay, okay? So there it is. Notice the goal of Lloyd here is to simply tell us these are the techniques that this person uses in their article to get their argument across. And we're going to dig into them. We're going to take a look at these techniques, okay? Lloyd is not going to agree, is not going to disagree, is not going to support, not going to do anything about Roiphy's argument. He is simply going to present what the argument, present this person's points and the techniques used and how the techniques are supposed to act or work on the audience, okay? So, with that being said, how do we see, when we go in the first body paragraph, here it is. We want to be able to see that thesis, or excuse me, that C method, okay? So the first thing we want to see is this topic sentence, which is your statement. This lets the reader know what appeal or what technique or whatever it is you're going to be focusing on in this particular paragraph. So right here, Roiphy begins her essay with a personal anecdote describing the horrifying realization that she married a man exactly like her mother, or excuse me, her father, excuse me. This technique, so notice, first off, the sentence, or excuse me, now I'm getting fumbled. I got myself all mixed up on my words, tripping on words here. Okay, so the first sentence we got is our topic sentence for the paragraph, our statement. That lets the reader know what the paragraph's going to go into. Next, we go directly into talking about the technique. This technique immediately establishes the essay as informal and personal. So notice, Lloyd is just talking to you about Roiphy's essay and what it does. After this, he starts to give quotes. And I think there's a lot of quotes. It's kind of messy. I'm not worried about that right now. But it goes into explaining and giving particular examples from Roiphy's text. Okay, that's good. Now, I want to point this out here. This part, which I'm going to color as a blue, this part at the end is the explanation. And this is where Lloyd, our classmate here, is explaining to you how these examples are doing what he said they are trying to do. That showing how those examples are supposed to affect the reader of Roiphy's essay. Okay? Anecdotes such as these are entertaining and tend to lighten the mood of the essay. Also, it's quite easy for readers to relate to personal experiences. So, another function of anecdotes in this essay is to substantiate and support main ideas. So, as you can see, that's all Lloyd wants to do in every paragraph from here on, okay? You can go through the rest of this essay on your own and look at each paragraph and see how this works. You will see this again and again. Of course, the formatting and style of writing may be different than yours or mine, but still, you can see these parts, okay? All right, so with that being said, I'm going to get rid of this. And now, let's take a moment to look at, this is week 1. Let's go back to week 2. Let's take a look at our the rhetorical analysis outline template. Okay, your outline is not due to the end of week 3. So this is a little bit early, still not early enough. This means it gives you plenty of time to work on putting your outline together. So I want to take a moment just to show you this example of an outline, and we can discuss how this works. All right, I need to fix that there. It's not an op-ed outline template, but there you go. All right, so here we are. Your name and the title of your essay goes right here. For the introduction, you want to do these 3 things. Just focus on this right now for your 3 things. Number 1, tell us who is the author and the title of the work that you're analyzing, okay? So if Lloyd Christmas was the person writing the essay in our class, the article that he is looking at was the Confessions of a Chauvinist or Female Chauvinist Sow, written by Anne Roiphy or something like that. So there you go. Now, what was the author's thesis? Remember, we already pointed that out inside of that one introduction, didn't we? And then, what is your thesis? What do you plan on covering? Now, going back to the video I made in week 1 for planning and pre-writing, I highly recommend you focus hard on the appeals. Tell us that there are a lot. It's just kind of open to you how you want to say it. And right now, with this being in the planning stage, with this being in your thesis template, you don't have to say it beautifully and perfectly. Just say it. Just put it down, clear, cut, and lay it out. And that's all we need right now. We can always go back and paint it up however we want to do it later. But tell us what their thesis is, what they tried to accomplish with their paper, and then in your paper what you're going to accomplish, okay? Which is simply revealing to us and showing us these types of techniques, mainly the appeals, and how these appeals are supposed to affect the audience, okay? Then we can move directly into paragraph 1. So when we go into paragraph 1, here is where you see the C method in works here. Number 1, the statement. Statement of appeal used. So let's say that we saw a really good example of pathos being used in the first body paragraph or somewhere in that paper. That's the first one we want to focus on. This paragraph here in this template is going to help us stay in line and focus just on that one example. So we want to let our reader know right in number 1 that, hey, we're going to talk about an example of pathos appeal and how it works, how it's supposed to work in the article. Then you want to provide the example from that text showing that appeal. So if you saw in the first body paragraph of Royfi's essay using some type of a pathos appeal, where? Show us where. Tell us. It could be a quote. It could be a paraphrase. It's fine. But tell us really quick. And make it quick. Don't go into big, long summary. Tell us quickly. And then after that, you want to have an explanation of how this appeal works on the audience. So after you show us that there is actually a pathos appeal in the first body paragraph of Royfi's essay, explain to us and tell us, because you have to imagine again that the reader's saying, okay, sure, that's a pathos appeal. How is that supposed to work on me? Answer that question. Literally answer that question for your reader. This is how that appeal in that example is supposed to affect you in persuading you to believe their thesis. That's all you got to do. Do that for every paragraph, all right? So paragraph 2, find another appeal, whether it be the same type of appeal, a different type of appeal. Find it. Tell us what you're going to talk about in your statement, topic sentence. Give us an example to that, and then explain how it's supposed to affect the reader in their essay. Same thing there. So notice, if you follow this, you're not going to be putting in opinion. You're not going to be trying to summarize a person's article. You're not going to be giving information that we don't need. You're going to be focusing on just showing the appeals. So focus on these parts in this template. What I highly recommend you do is, with this, the only problem with this being a Word document, but this just, it's a problem we have, is that when you type, it does this stuff, okay? That's fine. If you really want to, heck, I'm going to go back here. One thing you could do is just simply say I want to explain this now. I'm just going to get rid of these lines and just type my own, example, whatever I want to do. You can change font. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want here. Just make it clear that we can see you detailing your outline, okay? Do not write massive paragraphs in each one of these sections here, okay? This is just one paragraph. So each one of these things here should be no more than a sentence or two, or maybe even just a phrase, okay? And then I have 4 paragraphs may work for you here. That'll get you to 750 words. So a lot of y'all will probably just hit 4. I have a 5th paragraph here just in case you need it. But it's there for you. Use it if you need. But I will tell you one thing you won't do is you won't just have 3. You'll have a lot. You'll have more than 3 body paragraphs, okay? And then there's a little spot for your conclusion. I just restate your thesis in that spot for now. We'll work on prettying up the intro and conclusion later, okay? All right, y'all, that's all I have there that I want to talk about in this video. There may be more. There may be whatever you want to have. Don't forget, in week 2 this week, for those that are virtual, this is it. This is for you to watch these videos and study this. Watch them again. Shoot me an email. I may not do a Zoom meeting on, say, Friday, but it kind of just depends. It'll be optional if I do. If I do, it's just more of a Q&A. Let me help you if you need. For those coming to class, come in. I'm not gonna re-lecture on a lot of this stuff. I'll go over some stuff, show you some stuff, answer any questions, look at anything you need. I'll be there with you and help you out if you want to do research on the spot. It'll be up to you, okay? So I'll see you all this week, and to have a good day.